Dekkers is the man. Let's go, bro.
To close distance
Damn.
and set up attacks. Of course, the first step of feinting is always to establish Dekkers use teeps to help corner his opponents. And feinting
just let me clear your silences for you, buddy. Hey, you God almighty. Allegra ain't got shit on that. Ain't that some shit for you? Is that the right times medicine? Well, the hell they got? They ain't got nothing on that foot that boy just threw just now. Good God. Unless you pay me for the brand. Did you? Okay, not the time? All right, let's get back
to establish the move as a pilot.
What's good, everybody, man? Welcome back to Wild with Marcus. You already know what time it is, fam. It's been entirely too long since I kicked it with you, man. And the only way you said it with your boy just now is because you're new, or you actually just didn't feel like saying it just now. I'm not blaming you. But if by chance you're new, take a few seconds out, smack the sub button, hit the bell, join one of the most magnificent families all across YouTube, man. I say that with confidence because my family's just that dope. You don't have to take my word for it, though. You can leave something in the comments and get to know them and see how cool they are yourself, man. I guarantee you'll love my family. Now, what I got for y'all today is some more subscriber request content. Shout out to you amazing guys, man, for providing us with this. This is Ramon Dekkers, the Tyson of kickboxing. Explain, technique breakdown. Now, if you put Tyson's name in something, you got Marcus' attention, okay? He's supposed to be the Tyson of kickboxing. Let's check this aggression out. There's got to be some aggression in there. Probably get an ear bit off and everything. Hey, I love you, champ. No disrespect. I ain't trying to box that move, man. See him fight lately? Shit.
Ramon Dekkers was a legend in his own time. Dekkers dominated opponents with his non-stop pressure and powerful combinations, earning multiple championship titles in kickboxing and Muay Thai. Dekkers' achievements in Muay Thai were unheard of for a Westerner at the time, and greatly helped to popularize the style throughout the world.
Damn!
With this
guy's knocking heads off.
Powerful head and body hooks, tilting head movement, and relentless aggression. Dekkers was like the Mike Tyson of kickboxing.
He said it!
Only Tyson's opponents never had to worry about him following up his punches with roundhouse kicks.
Yeah, bro!
Like a good pressure fighter, Dekkers excelled at closing the distance. And the first way that he did this was through head movement. In boxing, Dekkers' head movement would have seemed understated, but in kickboxing, it was very noticeable. In fact, it was a big part of what allowed him to take out the top Muay Thai fighters in the era. Rather than fight, Dekkers would...
Hey, trying to kick him, man. He knocking heads. That boy got concrete in his fist. You need to check his gloves. I'm just saying. I'm kidding, Dekker fans. I'm kidding. Check his gloves.
Slip past the long, extended guards so often used by Muay Thai practitioners.
Bah! Yeah.
Dekkers was essentially treating frames and clinch attempts as if they were punches, evading and then countering them.
Yeah. Damn. Wow. Damn.
Moving his head offline not only bypassed
this guy beating people out the ring, man. I love it.
Competitor's first line of defense.
Damn.
It also loaded weight into his strikes.
Whoa! God almighty, did you see that?
Moving his head offline not only bypassed his competitor's first line of defense.
Spin him around.
It also loaded weight into his strikes.
Damn. He had enough, referee. Take that man out. Let him take a nap.
Set up angles for Dekkers to punch through and around their guard.
Pow!
For example, in this clip, Dekkers slips his opponent's clinch attempt, angling his lead hand perfectly to land an uppercut straight up the middle.
That's nasty.
And here he does the same, then sneaks a right over his shoulder.
Overhand
it should always be remembered that head movement does not simply evade strikes. It also creates new lines of attack that were not available before by repositioning a fighter's shoulders.
Exactly.
For example, another favorite of Dekkers was to slip and step inside, positioning himself to strike at his opponent's
Good. I've seen him do it.
Most opponents were woefully unprepared for the power that Dekkers can generate with his body shots.
Shit. Did you see that? Man, listen. At the rate of speed of that kick, he just sprinted his head when he was going down. If he got a chance to see that, he gonna act like he hurt. He not getting back up. He's like, man, I'm gonna try to kick my head off. He just hit like a kick.
Once Dekkers landed one strike, it was near impossible to stop him from landing another. When Dekkers got an opponent against the ropes, he would often transition into a wider stance from which he could better generate power. From there, Dekkers had a strong base from which to shift his weight and put together seamless combinations. Like Tyson, he tended to alternate between body and head hooks. He would mix in light taps with his power shots to make opponents overreact to the wrong threat. Then take advantage of the openings he's created.
Woo! Smart.
Dekker's roundhouse kicks paired incredibly well with his boxing, as his opponent so often tried to exit or pivot away from his hooks. This
guy's lethal, yo.
moved them directly into the path of Dekker's kicks as they tried to escape.
Pow. Pow. Oh!
Of course, head movement was too risky to use all the time. By tilting his head offline, Dekkers risked getting caught with kicks or knees. Dekkers demonstrates this principle himself here, catching his opponent as he tries to move his head offline. That's why Dekkers had a variety of ways to get in range, many times knocking out his opponents as he did so.
Damn!
Dekkers used...
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. He looked like he just whooped that boy. I seen that, man. That's just hard.
Teeps to help corner his
opponents. He ain't playing no games.
And feinted teeps.
How come I don't know about this guy? Why am I just finding out about this guy? Dekkers is the man. Let's go, bro.
Close distance
Damn.
instead of attacks. Of course,
oh
my God.
What is that?
Use teeps to help corner his opponents. And feinted
just let me clear your silences for you, buddy. Hey, you. God almighty. Allegra ain't got shit on that. Ain't that some shit for you? Is that the right times medicine? Whatever the hell they got, they ain't got nothing on that foot that boy just threw just now. Good God! Unless you pay me for the brand. Did you? Okay, not the time? Alright, let's get back
to establish the move as a viable threat in the first place. This was no problem for Dekkers, who had a powerful, lightning-fast teep facilitated by the short, narrow stance he preferred to use a long range. In this clip, Dekkers uses a timing feint, suddenly increasing his speed mid-strike to land. And here, Dekkers uses his teep to shift forward and establish a collar tie, leading to a KO.
Woo! Wow. Damn, he was sleep standing
like
up,
these
bro.
that allowed Dekker to elicit reactions in his opponents by simply lifting his leg. These feints could also function as checks or steps to close distance.
That's like a pump fake in basketball. He just pump faked him, you know what I'm saying? Shit's good, man.
And shift forward. Okay. Dekkers also favored a double jab feint, a classic in boxing. Of course, Dekker's actual jab was again powerful enough to establish feints as a real threat. However, Dekker's real go-to was to feint a cross. Throwing the cross naturally loads the fighter's lead hook with more power, and when Dekkers feinted a cross...
Hey, yo, my man will embarrass your ass out there, man. I'm just saying. You should have watched the video of this motherfucker's fight a whole bunch of times before you went out there and fight with this guy, man, because he like making people look bad, boy. This shit, and they look good the way he make them look bad. I know that sounds weird, but let's get back to it.
That same boost in power.
Sit your ass down.
Dekker's head movement and feints were highly effective, but his real expertise was absorbing and deflecting shots off of his guard. Dekkers allowed his opponents to unload on his guard as he moved into range, taking little real damage himself. To do this, Dekkers employed 3 different kinds of guards. The first was a high guard, common in almost all forms of combat sports. While a depressing number of fighters use a static high guard to take impact directly in hopes of landing their own shots, Dekkers instead used a reactive high guard to absorb and deflect attacks. For instance, in this clip, Dekkers expertly repositions his cover blocks to pick off shots on his elbows. In the same way a fighter can parry a punch aside with his hand, Dekkers turns strikes away with the movement of his upper body.
Damn. Wow.
He would also move into smother or turn with strikes. In this clip, Dekkers tilts side to side to let the shots glance off of his arms.
Use them arms as a shock
absorber. Take that impact directly on his guard. The block was usually reinforced and used both arms. This meant he could take hits directly while moving forward without taking too much damage. This held true even against roundhouse kicks, where Dekkers used both arms to block rather than use one arm to parry. He often did the same for punches and elbows, reinforcing one side with the other arm. Dekkers also incorporated a traditional Muay Thai defense into his high guard, placing one hand much higher than usual. This allowed the denser part of his forearm to shield him from punches and elbows. Dekkers also used a long guard. Notice how he smoothly turns aside each of his opponent's attacks in turn. A slight up.
Whoever this commentator is, really have been checking this guy out, man. He on this man. I'm just saying. Should have been, telling some of these guys who was fighting him out on the board some of this shit. They would have paid you good money for that. Let's get into it.
The oddity of Dekkers was his prevalence to favor his right arm for framing. Most of those who employ a long guard mostly reach out with their lead hand, but Dekkers often preferred to use his right hand, regardless of if he was in an orthodox or southpaw stance. Just like when he feinted across, this helped to load his left hook with more power. More importantly, it was another way of turning aside his opponent's lead arm leverage block to avoid the clinch. In this clip, Dekkers uses his rear leverage block to knock aside his opponent's attempt to frame with his lead, unbalancing him. His opponent tries to frame again, which Dekkers slips, and then lands a beautiful knockdown.
Ooh.
Believe it or not, the last guard Dekkers used was a cross guard. Dekkers occasionally used a full cross guard to shield him from flurries, but more often than not, he would use a single cross block to shield his head. Dekkers had a fairly advanced way of combining all three guards together. He would turn his high cover block into a cross block to help dispel the force of the blow, and then turn that into a cross frame to pull opponents into roundhouse kicks. Speaking of kicks, you can't have a breakdown of Dekkers without mentioning his devastating roundhouse kicks.
That boy got
Mostly
power
targeted at his opponent's legs, Dekkers' round kicks ended multiple fights.
He just don't want to get kicked again. He don't care about the punches and none of this no more. I can tell he kicked him so hard, man. I just can't let that damn leg hit this side of my leg again or I'm gonna die. Okay? I don't feel like dying right now. Fuck it. You can punch me over here, just don't kick this leg. Goodness crazy.
Rather than pivot on the ball of his foot to turn, Dekkers stepped into his kicks, turning his foot before he landed.
Yeah, he
Although
did.
this step was highly telegraphic, it also provided a number of benefits. First, it let him sink all of his weight down into his kick at the beginning of the movement, allowing him to use all his effort to pull his hips forward. Next, by speeding up the development of his kick by combining the step and the pivot, Dekkers could usually land first, winning in a dual exchange of kicks. Notice here how Dekkers' hip is able to turn as soon as he sets his foot down, while his opponent has just begun his pivot. While Dekkers' base is steady, his opponent is caught well up on his toes.
Damn. He turned that
This
foot.
pivot step also made it easier
That is a hell of a technique. I see it, man. It's pretty
move
good.
it deeper, so that he could take out an opponent's support leg as they attempted to check.
Wow. Damn. Yeah,
As
he kicked
Dekkers'
his
kick
block
was
leg
so
off and
highly
up on him.
telegraphed, he tended to set it up with many of the techniques showcased before. Once Dekkers realized he could leg kick an opponent with impunity, he simply would not stop.
I'll kick the shit out of this leg, bro. I'll break this motherfucker. Yo. And my man powerful, too. He's powerful. He's trying to grab him. Shit hurt. He told the ref, no. Hey, yo, get this mother. Hey, somebody, come. Hey, you, come get this mother. He kicked my head. Shit hurt me. Good God
Dekkers left a
Almighty.
huge impact in martial arts, inspiring countless fighters around the world. I would recommend studying all of his fights that you can find, especially if you want to be defensively responsible, but still favor an aggressive pressure style. Thanks for watching.
Man.
You can check out my books on power, footwork, and defense down below. From the Modern Martial Artist, this has been David Christian, wishing you happy training.
Well, shit. Man, Ramon Dekkers, man, this motherfucker is. He's got my. Look, I was a little sketchy at the beginning. I was like, the Tyson of kickboxing. Shit. You better show me something now. Man, this motherfucker bad, fella. Did you just see what I just seen? Did you watch it? You made it to this part of the video? Man, you was all right. I don't care what your uncle said about you, man. You fine with me? But yeah, man, this was definitely dope. This guy got the skills. Where is he? Like, is this like old footage, just like back in the day? I mean, I don't know, man. No disrespect to you, dog. I don't know much about you, man. Hopefully that, this guy is still doing great. And, he's probably got a couple belts and trophies, I'm pretty sure, of hanging up somewhere. But I don't know how I don't know about him. Maybe because I don't know much about the sport of kickboxing. Man, If it wasn't for the family, I'd be so delayed on some of this shit, man. Love you guys. And you ladies. Listen to you ladies too. Believe it or not, the ladies love sports. But yeah, man, it is the worst part of the video. The part where I got to go to get some more. I got more subscriber content to get into, and I can't wait to check it out with my amazing family. Be sure to thumb this one up, man, and share it on your Facebook, your Instagram, your family reunion line, you know, those little business cards that you pass out. Put a little Wild Marcus emblem at the bottom. Tell them go check that out in their spare time. You're in the holding line at the light bill place? Don't even want to be there in the first place? Might as well check out some Wild Marcus. I love you guys, man. I'm going to get up out of here, and I'll see y'all soon.
Niggas hating on the kid, I guess it's cause I'm vicious. Rolling up in something new and taking all the bitches. How you get your car that tone, that shit is so prestigious. I would compliment your shit, but I would really mean it. Niggas hating on the kid, I guess it's cause I'm vicious.